Okay, I think I might be able to keep up this time. I'm having a rough go with these streams, I tell ya. It's almost like, oh, ooh, we don't want to speculate. Um, I want to show you guys a really cool video. Maybe the powers that be are just not liking my frame of uh topic, let's say. So let's go into something here first. A quick video on how things operate on the level of how a virus infects our cell. And why does that matter? Well, it's knowledge. And if you can understand the basic science behind this and get a good, little grasp of it in a crash course, I guess, a crash course of in a, you know, fucking semester of biology. But anyway, yeah, it's good to understand the virus, because if you understand how it works and you understand the science, you can make your own conclusions from like what these people are saying, right? It's it's big, crazy big. And if you know kind of the science behind it, like I said, I could just repeat myself. So anyway, yeah, you can understand the papers, and you can understand. You don't have to understand every little thing, but I will try to help you. And this is my way of showing you how I became to understand it. But this is kind of a a laid out, not so laid out method. But yeah, prerequisite kind of thing. But it's good to envision how this stuff works, and it's a cool video. So we're gonna dive in a little bit of science, and this is a pretty cool video, and I think everybody should watch it.
What I am going to show you are the astonishing molecular machines that create the living fabric of your body. Now, molecules are really, really tiny. And by tiny, I mean really. They're smaller than the wavelength of light, so we have no way to directly observe them. But through science, we do have a fairly good idea of what's going on down at the molecular scale. So what we can do is actually tell you about the molecules, but we don't really have a direct way of showing you the molecules. One way around this is to draw pictures. And this idea is actually nothing new. Scientists have always created pictures as part of their thinking and discovery process. They draw pictures of what they're observing with their eyes through technology like telescopes and microscopes, and also what they're thinking about in their minds. I picked two well-known examples because they're very well known for expressing science through art. And I start with Galileo, who used the world's first telescope to look at the moon. And he transformed our understanding of the moon. The perception of the 17th century was the moon was a perfect heavenly sphere. But what Galileo saw was a rocky, barren world, which he expressed through his watercolor painting. Another scientist with very big ideas, the superstar of biology, is Charles Darwin. And with this famous entry in his notebook, he begins in the top left-hand corner with, "I think," and then sketches out the first tree of life, which is his perception of how all the species, all living things on Earth are connected through evolutionary history, the origin of species through natural selection and divergence from an ancestral population. Even as a scientist, I used to go to lectures by molecular biologists and find them completely incomprehensible with all the fancy technical language and jargon that they would use in describing their work, until I encountered the artworks of David Goodsell, who was a molecular biologist at the Scripps Institute. And his pictures are everything's accurate, it's all to scale. And his work illuminated for me what the molecular world inside us is like. So this is a transection through blood. In the top left-hand corner, you've got this yellow-green area. The yellow-green area is the fluids of blood, which is mostly water, but it's also antibodies, sugars, hormones, that kind of thing. And the red region is a slice into a red blood cell, and those red molecules are hemoglobin. They are actually red. That's what gives blood its color. And hemoglobin acts as a molecular sponge to soak up the oxygen in your lungs and then carry it to other parts of the body. I was very much inspired by this image many years ago, and I wondered whether we could use computer graphics to represent the molecular world. What would it look like? And that's how I really began. So let's begin. This is DNA in its classic double helix form, and it's from X-ray crystallography, so it's an accurate model of DNA. If we unwind the double helix and unzip the two strands, you see these things that look like teeth. Those are the letters of genetic code, the 25,000 genes you've got written in your DNA. This is what they typically talk about, the genetic code. This is what they're talking about. But I want to talk about a different aspect of DNA science, and that is the physical nature of DNA. And it's these two strands that run in opposite directions for reasons I can't go into right now, but they physically run in opposite directions, which creates a number of complications for your living cells, as you're about to see, most particularly when DNA is being copied. And so what I'm about to show you is an accurate representation of the actual DNA replication machine that's occurring right now inside your body, at least 2002 biology. So DNA is entering the production line from the left-hand side, and it hits this collection, this miniature biochemical machines that are pulling apart the DNA strand and making an exact copy. So DNA comes in, it hits this blue donut-shaped structure, and it's ripped apart into its two strands. One strand can be copied directly, and it can be seen spooling off down to the bottom there. But things aren't so simple for the other strand because it must be copied backwards. So it's thrown out repeatedly in these loops and copied one section at a time, creating two new DNA molecules. Now, you have billions of this machine right now whirring the right way inside you, copying your DNA with exquisite fidelity. It's an accurate representation, and it's pretty much at the correct speed for what is occurring inside you. But I've left out error correction and a bunch of other things. This was work from a number of years ago. Thank you. This is work from a number of years ago, but what I want to show you next is updated science. It's updated technology. So again, we begin with DNA, and it's jiggling and wiggling there because of the surrounding supermolecules, which I've stripped away so you can see something. DNA is about 2 nanometers across, which is really quite tiny. But in each one of your cells, each strand of DNA is about 30 to 40 million nanometers long. So to keep the DNA organized, to regulate access to the genetic code, it's wrapped around these purple proteins. I've labeled them purple here. It's packaged up and bundled up. All of its field of view is a single strand of DNA. This huge package of DNA is called a chromosome, and we'll come back to chromosomes in a minute. We're pulling out, we're zooming out through a nuclear pore, which is sort of the gateway to this compartment that holds all the DNA called the nucleus. All of this field of view is about a semester's worth of biology, and I've got 7 minutes, so we're not going to be able to do that today. No, I'm being told no. This is the way a living cell looks down a light microscope, and it's been filmed under time-lapse, which is why you can see it moving. The nuclear envelope breaks down. These sausage-shaped things are the chromosomes, and we'll focus on them. They go through this very striking motion that is focused on these little red spots. When the cell feels it's ready to go, it rips apart the chromosome. One set of DNA goes to one side, the other side gets the other set of DNA, identical copies of DNA, and then the cell splits down the middle. And again, you have billions of cells undergoing this process right now inside of you. Now we're going to rewind and just focus on the chromosomes and look at its structure and describe it. So again, here we are at that equator moment. The chromosomes line up, and if we isolate just one chromosome, we're going to pull it out and have a look at its structure. So this is one of the biggest molecular structures that you have, at least as far as we've discovered so far, inside of us. So this is a single chromosome, and you have 2 strands of DNA in each chromosome. One is bundled up into one sausage, the other strand is bundled up into the other sausage. These things that look like whiskers that are sticking out from either side are the dynamic scaffolding of the cell. They're called microtubules, but the name's not so important. But what we're going to focus on is this red region. I've labeled it red here, and it's the interface between the dynamic scaffolding and the chromosomes. It is obviously central to the movement of the chromosomes, but we have no idea really, as to how it's achieving that movement. We've been studying this thing called the kinetochore for over 100 years with intense study, and we're still just beginning to discover what it's all about. It is made up of about 200 different types of proteins, thousands of proteins in total. It is a signal broadcasting system. It broadcasts through chemical signals, telling the rest of the cell when it's ready, when it feels that everything is aligned and ready to go for the separation of the chromosomes. It is able to couple onto the growing and shrinking microtubules. It's transiently, it's involved with the growing of the microtubules, and it's able to transiently couple onto them. It's also a tension sensing system. It's able to feel when the cell is ready, when the chromosome is correctly positioned. It's turning green here because it feels that everything is just right. And you'll see that there's one little last bit that's still remaining red. And it's walked away down the microtubules. That is the signal broadcasting system sending out the stop signal, and it's walked away. I mean, it's that mechanical. It's molecular clockwork. This is how you work at the molecular scale. So with a little bit of molecular eye candy, we've got kinesins, which are the orange ones. They're little molecular courier molecules walking one way. And here are the dynein. They're carrying that broadcasting system, and they've got their long legs so they can step around obstacles and so on. So again, this is all derived accurately from the science. The problem is we can't show it to you any other way. Exploring at the frontier of science.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, eh? And that is an accurate representation of what's going on. And why does that matter? Discussing a virus. Well, of course it is biology, and it is attacking our biology. There's a lot of science supporting and there's not much science disproving the fact that this doesn't really seem like it's naturally made, or it doesn't really seem like it's made from nature. Yeah. Let's read this article. So Daniel Lucy, an infectious disease specialist at Georgetown University, said it was possible that the virus spread silently between residents of Wuhan as early as November, if not earlier. That's what I kind of thought too, was like October. Because this thing would have had to have been stretching its legs for a little bit before they caught it, right? Of course, especially when it's flu season, it would have been tough to catch this. So the virus came into that market before it came out of that market, Lucy told Science last month. And now she is an infectious disease specialist at Georgetown University, and she in fact did say this because Senator Tom Cotton reiterated that in his speech. So the virus came into the marketplace before it came out, so that means maybe people did have, it could have been just coincidence they had connection with the seafood market, right? Just exactly, like, so it didn't come from anything in the market. And there's proof now that people are saying that the bats were never an item in the market. So now it seems clear that the seafood market is not the only origin of the virus. To be honest, we still do not know where the virus came from now. And we don't. But a number of conspiracy theories have connected the novel coronavirus to Wuhan Institute of Virology. One school of theories claims that the virus had been leaked from the lab either by accident or on purpose. On Saturday, the institute became a trending topic on Chinese Twitter Weibo after accounts claimed that one of its graduates was the patient zero. Sources allege that the woman, who received her master's degree from the academy in 2015, was the first to be infected with the virus. Wuhan Institute of Virology denied the claims. In a statement, it said, She had been working in another province and had been diagnosed, or had never been diagnosed, with the coronavirus. So she's not at work, but they say she's working in another province and there's nothing going on. So a day later, a Weibo user who claimed to be a researcher at the institute named anyways, he accused the institute's director of leaking the virus. The institute said the allegation was fabricated and that the user had posted, and police stressed that the blogger was not from China. So anyway, director at the Wuhan Institute of Virology said earlier this month, the novel coronavirus is nature's punishment for humans. Uncivilized life habits. Quote, the 2019 novel coronavirus is nature's punishment for humans' uncivilized life habits. That's coming from the director of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. That is heavy. And she says, use my life to guarantee the virus has no relation with the lab. She urged Chinese authorities to launch an official investigation into the matter. Yeah, she told Chinese news outlets, conspiracy theorists don't believe in science. I hope our country's professional departments can come to investigate and prove our innocence. Yeah. Live tree bears. Koala. That's what that is circled. But they don't sell bats. This is the menu from the market. And this is the seafood market. These are old. Yeah, see, this is when there was only 2,000 deaths. Or sorry, 2,000 cases and 80 deaths. Whenever this was around. So last week, a team of Chinese scientists claims that the deadly coronavirus might have started in a research facility just 900 feet from the Wuhan fish market. Experts from South China University of Technology said in a paper that the Wuhan Center for Disease Control could have spawned the contagion. Possible origins of the coronavirus. Yeah. Claims that the WHCDC kept disease-ridden animals in laboratories, including 605 bats. That's pretty precise. I don't know, 605. Would seem right. I don't know. But yeah, they have obviously, and the Wuhan Center for Disease Control. It's not like the same as our Center for Disease Control, although they did take the name kind of from it, and it does kind of incorporate the same thing, but it's a little different. It's Chinese, so they're. Let's just keep going. The paper also mentioned that bats, which are linked to coronavirus, once attacked a researcher and blood of the bat was on his skin. It is said genome sequences from the patients were 96 or 89% identical to the bat CoV ZC45 strain coronavirus originally found in Rhinoceros affinis, intermediate horseshoe bat. So, it described how the only native bats are found around 600 miles away from the seafood market. So, the genome sequence is from this specific bat. And the closest native territory where these bats are found is 600 miles away from the market. And they don't sell the bats in the market. There was a bunch of people who said they didn't. The markets, the report titled Possible Origins of the NCOV Coronavirus was originally uploaded to ebook and audiobook service Scribed and now has been deleted. But guess who's got a copy? Somewhere. A pneumonia outbreak associated with the new coronavirus of probable bat origin. This is on ResearchGate, but I haven't closed this window since I seen it, so it's still up. Or maybe it's not. Oh, I did. I restarted my computer. But wait. Oh, it's gone. Wait. Preview this PDF. Not available by license. I don't know if I want to download that. The hell? Okay, hold on. I have another source for this. I do. Somewhere. Maybe it's all the way back here. Yeah, there's the Center for Disease Control. It's not too far. Let's see if I can find that paper. Oh. Well then. They did take it down. That's like, I don't know. Strange. Well, not really considering. That sucks. But anyways, it wasn't anything they could really read a whole lot anyways. But the other paper is still available. Because I downloaded this one. Yeah, anything scientific that's coming out that's supporting the fact that it possibly even could have maybe came out of the laboratory, well, all of a sudden it's gone. Alright. And the both of them were scrubbed. But this one here is the same thing. Scientific paper that says the same thing. Does not look natural. But these 4 inserts in these black boxes that are circled at the top, the very top ones, are completed codes. And you see the ones below it, you see their dots. Those are missing genome sequences in the code, in the genetic code of the other viruses. But this specific one has the completed code, which means that it can now function in a specific way. For whatever reason, they put a code in. It's just like, no, it's no different than a computer code in a sense, but you're working at a genetic level. It's, yeah, crazy. What, like, where do you even start? January 30th. Yeah, and we got cases in Egypt, in Iran, India, CDC in the US is actually taking steps to prepare for a pandemic. It's going to be I'd say we're less than a week away. 2 weeks at the most. It'll be a pandemic. But I say we're about a week away, even less than that. I would think, because we're already about a week behind. Or two of what things are. Oh yeah, it's not good, right? And the science is there, and any science that is there, they're scrubbing it hard. It's almost like, it's like the Chinese media. The same thing they did to their citizens, and then all of a sudden the hospitals were overpacked. Everybody was scrambling, running, panicking. All these military came in, shut things down. That's what happened. And if you can think that maybe, well, if it happened there, could it happen here? And that's not to like fearmonger anybody. That's serious, because that's where we're at right now. It's not a fucking joke. We can't stop this. So what happens? Already the market shit the bed. Apple's lost over $100 billion in 1 week. And that's just Apple. That's just Apple. Just Apple. There's like dozens of other major companies in there that got wiped as well. So you could think that it's effectively probably around $1 trillion loss so far with this fiasco. It's probably up around 2 trillion. Really, I guess because the import and export, or well, I guess the import of gasoline and oil has stopped as well. Nobody's driving. Can't sell it if it's not selling. Right? Nobody's driving. Everybody's quarantined. Where the hell is anybody going? Might have a little bit of stuff coming in, but you know what I mean. Nobody's. It's fucking huge. I promise you. And it's gonna come quick. It'll come so quick. But if you're waiting for it and you're prepped for it, do you know what I mean? Like you can almost. It's like tuck and roll, right? It's like if you're going really fast and you bail, the best option is to like tuck and roll and kind of absorb the fucking impact. And that's kind of where we gotta be thinking right now. Unfortunately, nobody wants to be in that state of mind to think like that. But we really seriously have to start thinking like this, because it's it might be officially small numbers. Those are the numbers of cases that they're catching. This thing, unfortunately, spreads like the flu. But it's a mild flu. Some people can be highly infectious and not show any symptoms at all. We have multiple cases. There's outbreaks happening everywhere now. It's global. It's officially tip to tip everywhere. There's a few spotty places that don't have this, but pretty well every country's got it. Everywhere. Well, North Korea says they don't have any yet, but that's bullshit. South Korea's got like an episode on their hands right now. The biggest one outside of China, and then Japan. Japan's the next one. Or UK, United States. United States they're being pretty hush hush with their numbers. We can't catch this, and it's just not the United States, it's everywhere. People don't go into the hospital for a little flu-like symptoms. And if they are, what are they going to do? They're not just going to test every person for this. Comes through the door. They can't. They can't even test the people in China. In one city. One city. They can't even keep up to one city of 11 million people. And the world of like what? 9 billion people is going to be ready for this? You think? No. And the supplies will go fast. And yeah, I am thinking like this because we can't stop it. It's not stopping. Whatever you think that might be peaking, it hasn't peaked in China yet. It is still raging over there. And, you know, if it hasn't peaked there, you know, and it took like, you know, at least 3 months to get to the rest of the world, well, we at least got a 3-month ride with this, at least. And that's if it like stops tomorrow in peaks. All right, and you know, people don't like to hear that. It upsets them. No, well, that's not fucking crazy. This guy's fucked. I could care less. The people who want to listen, well, you know, you take this information, you do what you want with it. Oh God, I've taken my precautions as best as I can, and that's all anybody can do. Right? Take the precautions, and you know, if you got like a cabin somewhere and you can go chill for a couple of weeks, do it. I don't know. I'm not telling you to do that. Obviously, it's your own choice, but weigh what's going on in the world right now. Do some research. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. This isn't a conspiracy theory. And that's exactly what they want you to believe in a real situation like this. It was a tactic done by the CIA since the fucking 60s. And it works. It works. That's why they still use it. The real question is, and as I was saying in my last stream before I so rudely cut off for technical issues, the real questions we need to be asking is what's going to happen first. You know, what's going to break first? Because if we can't stop the spread, and this thing has been spreading for quite a while, I'm going to be straight up with you. It's still stretching its life pretty good because there's still international travel and trade happening. But it's been going for about 3 months when it was at its peak. When this thing was at peak outbreak in Wuhan, people were just still traveling everywhere, doing everything business as normal. Seriously. And it wasn't until January 23rd until they locked that city down. And it was just that city. All the other cities knew what was going on. Everybody bailed. Didn't matter where they were going, they were buying tickets. Didn't matter. They just wanted out as fast as they could. And then literally the next day, another 14 cities with millions of people went under quarantine. And then I was like, wow, this isn't a joke. Like, okay, this is going to affect their economy. Like, no, they wouldn't. This isn't something like, no, this is actually something. And then it spread and it spread and it spread, and I was watching it. And before there was even any cases confirmed in Canada, I was shitting myself. I was, because I was like, what the fuck is this thing? I just understand the behavior of it. And it's very, very volatile. And it's not burning out. It's getting stronger. Has it mutated? Is there another strain of this? A deadlier strain going around maybe? Because Iran just like 4 deaths and like bam, like they just got their first couple of cases, and well, not cases, but they got a couple of hundred, and now they're just dropping dead over there. It's spreading. outside China. It's like a little ripple, right? It sure seems like that. Because I believe the videos. I do. They're hard to watch. That's why I believe them. Because I actually feel terrible when I watch them. Those people. And that makes me feel that they're authentic. And we can only watch it unfold as much as we want to. As much as we want to look into it, as much as we're going to find out about it. And there is a lot of fake news. But I've been following this right from the first. And I kind of seen I seen it all before the directive kind of changed, you know, the angle of this, because it was going in a bad direction. Everybody started to panic. People were asking questions. Here in Canada, when we got our first case, or I don't know, it wasn't the first case, it was first confirmed case that was spreading. It was like a month ago as well. The first confirmed case spreading in Toronto. And fuck, the mayor had to like come out and make a statement and address everybody to calm down, and it was crazy. You know, the mayor was coming out, and then the next day, all of a sudden, they release somebody from the hospital. Oh, she's, it's all better. All good. Going home. But it didn't say that they were cured. It didn't say that they were tested and came back negative, because they didn't. They did that. They did that because the city was about to fucking go up. It really was. I was watching it here in Canada, and like it was getting real fast. Like people were being really antsy, let's say. And then that's what they did. They released somebody the next morning and made a big news story about it. Calmed everybody down. Like, oh, okay. Well, it's not so bad. Somebody got released from the hospital. It's okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Okay. Not so bad. Not so bad here. Calmed everybody down for the moment. That's all it is. It's just a tactic to keep delaying the process and to not really take any big action. Because right now, what they're going on is the numbers that are officially out of China. But we all know those numbers are wrong. Because they're basing all their forecast models off this. And weighing the fact that saying, hey, well, should we act now at full capacity? No, the numbers don't say that we need to do that right now, but, well, it's pretty bad in China, yeah, we know that, yeah. But don't worry, everywhere else is, it's just small numbers. Holy fuck, the numbers, like, they're just exploding globally. They are. I remember when they were talking about there was only like 3 cases out of China. Oh, there's only 3 cases outside of China. I think there was 1 in the US. There was 1, God, I don't know, it was weird anyway. There's only a couple. And then, the next day it was like, well, yeah, we only have, there was 3 reported cases or something. And then the next day it was like, no, you know what? No reported cases outside of China, just inside of China. And it kind of did that for a couple of days. No new cases outside of China. And then all of a sudden there was like, 20 cases outside of China. She jumped for a little bit. But then when it got to about 100, that's when it really started jumping. It was like the numbers officially outside of China, once it got to about 100. Because if you got 100 confirmed cases, and even if those cases are cases that flew from China and you quarantine them or whatever, and it doesn't matter, they flew on an airplane with somebody to get out of there. They weren't under quarantine conditions at that time. They were just taking temperatures. They were taking temperatures, and that's all they could do. That was the only mechanism they had in their toolbox that they could give frontline workers to say, hey, we're doing something, or show the world that, you know, something's being done. You know, we're not standing here with our fingers in our ass, because like really that's the way the situation is. Because they don't know what to do either. Nobody knows what to do. All they can keep doing is try to quarantine it and contain it. Well, those measures failed drastically in China. We can see that. And China, yes, is a communist country and it's a little twisted and their measures are over the top, of course. But, you know, when everything... Oh my goodness, it's just... It's bigger than what we can imagine. And it's not stopping. The numbers that we're seeing right now and the models that we're basing everything off, they're wrong. It's 5 million potential coronavirus carriers have already left Wuhan, mayor reveals. And this came out January 26th. And I think, yes, it's very accurate, if not more. There's numbers around 1.2, 1.5 million or 2 million around that area that got out of China before all the lockdowns. Like out of 2 million people, like how many would be infected? Quarter of them? 250,000? How many of those people super spreaders? You know, we don't know. We do know that there is super spreading events. There's been over 1,000 people direct flight from Wuhan right to the United States, like right out of Wuhan. No connecting flights right to fucking New York. So that was before the lockdowns. That was before they even started doing testing for fucking temperatures at the airports here in the United States and Canada. It wasn't until they declared a state of emergency, I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, then they started like locking things down. It took forever. I was looking at the news going, what the actual fuck? The airports are still open. And people just don't like to hear that, right? Nick, yo, yes, I am. I hear you, doggy. I stay well medicated myself. Cannabis, of course. You know, cannabis is the cure. But it's fucking crazy. And like I'm in a position like I live on an island. Like fucking far away. So I'm worried, but I'm not right at this moment. I'll know when it's time to make a jump. Alright? I'll know when it's time to go. I'll see once I see like if I see United States go into like a quarantine lockdown, I'm going fucking blitzed. Like I mean, like there's going to be actions taken where I'm going to make sure that the best of mine, interests and my family's are looked out for. And I'm sorry about, it's the way it is. It comes down to survival, right? It's not that you want to, hurt anybody else or do anything like that, but I mean, for means of survival, of course, like you would have to, get supplies, before anybody else does. Because they will run out fast. At any given time, there's only about 3 to fucking 7 days worth of groceries in the city at any given time. Because most stuff doesn't last longer than that. It goes pretty quick. chocolates and candies and all, that's a different story. But you know, like fresh produce and you know, like fucking meats and fresh meats and all that kind of stuff. Even frozen meats and everything, right? And the thing is, like, if the grid does go down, let's say the grid does go down, and it's something we really have to consider. When everybody's like, "No, you're fucking crazy." There's 1.4 billion people under quarantine at this moment. 1.4 billion people. And there's other countries that are shutting their borders down. The stock markets are just taking a shit. Apple has lost over $100 billion in the last week. 1 week. Apple 2.27% drop this week, or just like recently. But on Monday they took a 5% hit. And what's a 5% hit for Apple? $72 billion. And that's just Apple. There are a fuck ton of companies and factories in China that are not operating anymore. They're really not. The mail doesn't even go to China. Everything is stopped. I mean, like, it's all of China, not just that one city anymore. This has effectively shut down the biggest industrial producer really in the world, on the planet. They are medicines, computer parts, technology, innovations. There's a company in the UK. This guy just started up his business. Like, he's been going for like, I don't know, it's only been going for like 3 or 4 years. But he's just getting like, he's doing like some kind of, doing something with eco energy, and biorenewable energy or something like that. And it's like, it's big things happening for this guy. But he can't get his supplies out of China because they're closed. So he took a fucking 40% hit in 1 day when he announced that he couldn't get supplies, and he had to. Like, this guy was like, it was a big, well, it wasn't really big, but it was big enough that like whatever he was doing, it was like some kind of biofuel, or not biofuel, but bioenergy or natural energy, something like that. Anyway, yeah, he just took a 40% drop in 1 day. Literally laid off half his employees, and just like at the end of the week, because he was just like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't get anything. He said, and you know what? If it keeps up like this, he'll have to lay everybody off next week. Like I don't know how many people he had working there. There's like 1,000 people at this place. Like, all those 1,000 people are just gonna be toast, and that's just one small little company. That's one small company. Apple has laid off a shit ton of people, and like General Electric's taking a huge dump because all their equipment, not just their equipment, but like, look at that. Holy fuck, you could surf down that. Or you could do some gnarly fucking tricks off that if it was a ski slope. Like, really? That is crazy. General Electric, and we all know what General Electric is, right? They're also one of the biggest electronic producers in the world. And do you know what that's gonna do to everybody in the planet? Not just General Electric, this is everybody. This is everybody. I mean, you're gonna go to McDonald's someday and be like, what the fuck, I can't even get a burger? Why? Because all the fucking factories shut down, that, you know, this place fucking has other, you know, whatever's gonna be tied to it, right? It might just not be the meat, but there's a million other things that come out of Japan and fucking China that companies rely on this stuff. It's gonna go down. I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna see a meltdown of society, or a collapse of the economy, and then eventually the meltdown of society. where it becomes desperate because there's been no more or very limited resources. One of the biggest supply chains in the world has just been cut down. Like, we're not getting anything in and out of there. And I live in Canada, and all the fucking railroads are shut down. Truckers are probably loving that, but you can't haul that amount of equipment or haul that amount of freight that you need, that you can haul on a train, like in transport trucks. Can't do it. And not in the same time frame. But they, there's a big protest going on up in Canada, where I'm from, and everybody's upset about this big pipeline. I understand. I'd be pissed off too if somebody's going to put something through my backyard. Fuck you guys. But at the same time, it's. I think it's too far fucking gone. I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm not. It's kind of like fucking call it how it is. The Earth's pretty well got 10 billion people on it now. Right? 10 billion people on this little dot. We are a virus. Humans are a fucking parasite. I'm not kidding. The Earth is the host. We are the virus. We get all our nutrients and everything we need from the Earth. And what does the virus do? Gets all its nutrients and everything it needs from our cells. It's the circle of life. Right? Oh, and the Dow took a fucking almost a 1 point drop. If that thing drops below 2%, you watch that, I'm serious. Get the fucking app on your phone or something, because if that hits 2%, we're going to see big fucking changes. And I mean, it's going to roll real fast. Actually, it'd probably start rolling out pretty fucking soon. Because I don't think it's going to gain very much. But if that ever hits 2%, that's unrecoverable. That's automatic recession. Automatic. Okay, we're going fucking into, like, if it hits 3 and 4%, that's probably a wartime. That'd be like what it would be like living in fucking poverty in the war and like fucking back in like World War II and stuff. Considering, because there'd be no, like, everything would shut down. Everything's gonna shut down. It's just gonna be a wave. How are people gonna stay open if one thing that relies on another thing that relies on another thing? It's a network, right? We're too dependent upon this fucking network of modern day society. And it's so fucking sketchy. It is, it's so sketchy. And it's so fragile. It really is. It's like, eventually it's like Murphy's Law of what can go wrong will. It's just gonna happen. It's just give it long enough time on a long enough timeline. If anything will happen once, at least. Anything that can happen, right? So, like, yeah, look at that. Just, oh my god. Red everywhere. Coca-Cola. Everybody's stocking up on fucking pop. Shit's going down. Agnes, get the Pepsi. I mean the Coke. Actually, it's a good thing, sugar. Yeah. What else? Caterpillar. I don't see how Caterpillar could be gaining. Most of their... No, actually, no. Caterpillar's got big productions. Oh, yeah, no, that's right. They do have... But Boeing took a shit dumping. Like, yeah, look at that. Fucking 1.75. Apple. Ouch. And those numbers... Look. Oh. Those are shares. That's not price. Those are shares. That's 32 million times 313. Let's see how much that is. Let's see. Calculator. 32.4 million. Just to give everybody an estimate or kind of a figure of what Apple lost today. Why is that not working? If I could do math in my head. Actually, you know what? I can do math in my head. What's 32 times 3? 900. 9 billion. Yeah, probably around $9 billion, I think. Is it 9 billion? Yeah. 19. I don't know. Something like that. My calculator doesn't work. Fucking solar power and the lights are out. Oh my god. No, it's on my cell phone. I don't know why it won't open. Oh, damn it, but that's a lot of money, and it's not even like all these together on the global large market, or I know it might not. Oh, it's disgusting. It's gonna fucking happen. All right, so if you can, I know you and Jay, you might been like, well, they've been planning this for years, and it could be, dude. It could be. It could be. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, it's a mass population extinction, and it very well could be. But at the same time, it's actually happening. um you know, it's happening. And that's all that matters, really. Not really where it came from, how it got there, because the fact is it's out now, and that's all. It's, you know, it's out, and we can't contain it. Not now. Maybe back in December, if, you know, they would have took actions when they would have. But Jesus, that's a scary dinosaur. So that's where we're going. Back to the fucking prehistoric days. If the grid goes down, think about it. And if they are spreading it on purpose, you know, it could be, you know, but it's also, you know, there's a lot, there's many things. But purpose or unpurposefully, you know, it's still gonna sweep across the nation with no regard for borders or gender or race or anything. Like, people are dying from this all over the world now, like everywhere. And I think I really think there is two different types, or there might even be three different types. You know, there could be. Maybe we're getting backdoored. We could be getting backdoored, and the whole world's just gonna fucking melt. But I'm gonna try and survive so I can be a post-apocalyptic fucking scavenger. I want to be like Will Smith on fucking on I Am Legend, and just go test drive all the fucking crazy cars. Go find some cocaine in Colombia. I'll fly a plane. I'll just fly a plane right to Colombia. Get a bunch of cocaine. Get a bunch of liquor. Yeah. Fuck. So this is what, you know, this shit's crazy, right? This stuff, it affects our system in such a weird way that, you know, now they're using paid plasma donation. Yeah, like they're giving people money to donate their plasma from people who have got infected with this. Which is highly inadvisable, but it's a desperate move on a medical level. you know, when they're resorting to tactics like that, that's a desperate move, right? It shows desperation, and it's with good reason, because this thing is not natural. It didn't come from nature, and if it did come from nature, well, goddamn nature, you scary. Because really, this thing is designed to fucking target our ACE2 receptors, which are, you know, they're expressed on our lungs, on our liver, in our blood vessels. They're lined all along our blood vessels, and what these things are, they're receptors for this specific virus. Cause liver disease. That's why they say multi-organ failure when they talk about this. It's not just pneumonia that gets you. You know, like everything shuts down, and it constricts your blood vessels, gives you, and your blood pressure drops with this one. So yeah, it's different, right? It really is different. But what is the same though is that this is the same genome in a sense as SARS, because SARS, which everyone claimed leaked out of the laboratory back in 2002 and 2003 from China, they said, hey, like,
percent identical, which is a high.
We knew you guys leaked this out of the laboratory, or not leaked it, but like it got out of the laboratory, or maybe leaked it. Who fucking knows? But you know, obviously it didn't take hold, or it didn't do the job it was supposed to do back then. Or maybe it's just another mistake, right? And there's so many ways, right? There really is. Human error is you know, fuck, it plays a big role in this stuff. It could have been just as simple as a faulty filter system, right? Or because you think like the waste has to go somewhere, the disposable waste has to go somewhere, it's got to get transported to a fucking, well, incinerator, unless they burn it on site or whatever they do, right? But there's just so many ways for contamination to actually happen at these facilities. And this here has gained some very unique characteristics. It spreads like the virus, like influenza, like it spreads like the flu. Same kind of thing, but it's more contagious. It actually is aerosol in the sense that, well, it not only hangs in small and large droplets of coughs and sneezes, but it also is in an aerosol vapor that hangs in the room and can carry for long distances. This thing, if let's just say like current forecasts are saying this thing can infect 60% of the planet. So let's just say it does do that. If everybody 60, well, there wouldn't be still 60% of the people still living if 60% of the people of those people still got it. So, but let's say, you know, people breathing on the planet, just, you know, the more people that get infected with this, the more they're just breathing this out into the air and aerosolizing it into the atmosphere, getting carried by the storm, rainwater, humidity, snow, fucking anything. This thing can travel in water, and it does live in water. They know that because it travels in feces and urine. So it, you know, it's capable of traveling in water just as well. So we don't know, right? How contagious is it? That's the thing, and it seems to be pretty goddamn contagious. And it's all about information so that you can get yourself at least ahead of the game. You know, this is for people who want to just have a little bit of information just so they can get ahead of the game. Not to go out and cause panic or make people do irrational things. You know, it's not time for irrational things right at this moment where, well, at least where I'm at. If I was in China, it'd be batshit crazy, right? There'd be like, I'd be going to the goddamn hills if I lived in China. I would. I'd get whatever I felt like I could, you know, some things that are basic survival tools, and I would head into the mountains and I would not look back. I would not come down for not a goddamn reason. If I made it past the first couple of months and I knew I wasn't infected, I'd be like, woo, I'm fucking staying right here. You know, it's real. More than we could ever imagine. And the videos that we're seeing, they're, you know, some of them are pretty rough and some of them are pretty hard to watch. But I promise you, that's not the half of it. There's some really evil things happening in there. And they are a communist country. And these are child soldiers raised in this army in a communist country. They're brainwashed. In a sense of what you would call somebody brainwashed. They're like dogs. They will respond on cue, no matter what, and they will put their life. If he says go in there and do this, like, you know, they are just like robots, because they're engaged like that and trained like that, conditioned from childhood. So you can imagine, they have very little compassion. And what they do when they're unleashed into this city is whatever they feel that they need to do to get this under control, or whatever they think that they can do to get under control. But you know, you're just pissing on a wildfire. It's not gonna help, really. At this point in China, they're being reactive. You know, it's a reactive effort. They're trying to react to something that already happened, instead of being proactive when it first happened and try to avoid it. But no, they fucking covered it up. And there's a lot of questions about why they covered it up. Some people are saying that it actually was done on the provincial level, like the provincial leaders at the, you know, state level or whatever. They tried to suppress it or tried to cover it and tried to fix it up before, but then they didn't really realize how bad it was. All right, they didn't realize how bad it was either. And then when it did get bad, and then they did alert Beijing about what was going on, you know, then it took a couple of days after that before things still got into motion. But now it's just fucked. But they don't know if it was the local officials that did it themselves, or if it actually had something to do higher up the ladder. But you know, there's a lot of controversy around that, right? But regardless, they did suppress the information, and they told their citizens there was nothing wrong while the place was melting down around them. Like, people were literally dropping in the fucking streets, and they're like, no, don't worry, it's all good, go to work. China introduced tight censorship restrictions on informative relating to coronavirus, aimed at controlling the narrative. Those who disrupt social order by posting on social media information other than sites, government sources, risk 3 to 7 years imprisonment. This fucking sign says 3 to 7 years imprisonment for uploading on social media sites. And they're actually using the death penalty now. They really are. Fucking crazy. Fucking communist country. You know what I mean? Like, we know it's bad there, but like, disrupt social order. How's your social order disrupted whenever your fucking whole country's on quarantine? Like, disgusting, man. And it's not, it doesn't know any borders. It's everywhere. It really is everywhere. global. It's fucking global. Get your dry goods, your canned goods, your cannabis, your liquor. Actually, you know what? You just may as well try and get a bunch of sugar so you can make your own liquor. Get the basics: flour, sugar, butter, lard, all that kind of stuff. That's what you go after. Fucking solid bacon stuff, salt, right? Definitely salt, spices, pepper, because it'll disappear fast. You know what? There's not even any garlic being fucking made anymore. Like, China was one of the biggest garlic producers in the world. I know garlic might not seem like it's like, fuck, who cares about garlic, but wow, it's big, right? And it's just information like that you guys can maybe kind of branch off of somewhere. Start your own fucking least abstract thought. Yeah. Some shit going down, ladies and gentlemen. And you just gotta take care of yourself, right? You just gotta be aware of the situation. You know? But everybody's in a different spot. Everyone. And that's what, you know, everybody's gonna respond differently to this. Some people are not gonna know how to take it. Some people are just gonna snap fucking noodles. Like they will. And it's not gonna come without a warning. It's not like anybody's gonna say, hey, yeah, so it's no. It's gonna be just like China. It's gonna fucking blow up overnight. Because that's exactly how it happened in China. And China waited for whatever reason their government wanted to cover it up. And the rest of the world is waiting because we're waiting on data. We're waiting on science. It doesn't matter. Time's still fucking ticking. And this thing don't matter if we're waiting on data. It don't. It really doesn't. And it's not to freak people out, it's to give people information. Because information will make you fucking armed, at least with the knowledge that maybe, you know, might give you enough, right? Who knows? But it is happening, and at what speed and at how long. Well, just be vigilant, because we don't know what this thing is. And they still say that. But the scientists, you know, they're pretty smart fucking people. It is highly unlikely gain this fucking specific protein through natural means. And I don't even have to know the science behind it, every little fucking detail they went through, but I know enough that it does definitely fit the bill about what this thing is doing. And this report came out before all our scientific studies are coming out. Alright? But it said here that it was using the ACE receptors, the CD4 receptors, and the ACE binding proteins. And we know that now. But yet, no, this report was wrong. Alright? We still don't know what it is. That's just the protein. That's just the way it gets into your body. You know, that's just the way it gains entry to give the virus entry to your cell. That's just the key to get in the door. The virus is another thing in and of itself. We don't know a whole lot about that either. But you can guarantee if they did some modifications to the way it went in, they'd probably do some modifications about what it did while it was in there. I don't know. A lot of questions. But we don't, you know, it's questions that we may never know the answer to. But regardless, we're going to see it unfold with our own eyes. And it's going to start happening really soon. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm trying to be a realist. This isn't some bullshit fucking thing to get clickbait or fucking views. I want to give people some actual fucking, I'm not going to say it because it rhymes, news. But really, you can use this. It's happening. Look at that crash. You think it's gonna stop anytime soon? This thing's still raging. Crash. Fucking Citigroup. 2.8. Like, these are billions of dollars. These aren't like hundreds of thousands or millions. Like, these are billions being lost right now. Alphabetic. I don't know what the hell that is, but crash. Like, we all can see it. Japan, well, you know, they floated for a while because China fucking liquidated everything they had, all the central bank's assets. They did, and made the biggest deposit in history, $174 billion into the stock market. So they floated for a while, and it kept the other markets floating for a while. But now, time's up. Can't do that no more. Not working. And it didn't work. They thought they could let the market float for a little while until they got some, you know, they were really hoping they could quarantine this and get it under control, like they did back with the SARS. They did the same thing with the SARS quarantine, but it didn't hit mainstream media like this did. They did the exact same fucking thing. They quarantined a bunch of people in the city and they controlled it. And they contained it. But this is fucking something else. North Korea, the only place on the fucking planet that doesn't have a case of coronavirus right now. But they do. There's news reports, people saying guaranteed that they're sick in there for sure. And Montreal, like, you know, like these people, this is around my neck of the woods. Like, you know, people should actually, of course, do that out of the honor system to quarantine yourself if you've been from there. But he's probably, like, is he in a house? Is he in a building? Is he, you know, is somebody come to the door? Does he answer the door? Does he take the garbage out? Does, you know, like, what, you know, there's so many cross-contamination issues even if he is in self-isolation. It's really unlimited. The way you could possibly infect other people. How would you spend 14 days alone? Cocaine and Pornhub. No. I don't know. It is real though, right? The CDC, USA Today, they are literally prepping for a pandemic. They actually updated their website to include a pandemic prep list. Let's go see what the pandemic prep list from the United States looks like. CDC. Pandemic checklist. Oh, bam. Planning guidance and checklist. Center for Disease Controls. Just a lot of getting ready for pandemic flu for individuals and households. Achoo! Oh, it's getting late. I'm getting silly. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be doing stuff like this. Okay. Pandemic flu is not seasonal flu. Fuck. Oh, it's the stupidity and like, but people are that stupid though. I'm sorry, people. You are. You're fucking stupid. God damn it. We gotta dumb things down for people so much. It's like, don't forget to wipe your arse when you go to the bathroom. Hey, did you put the seat down? Fuck. Like, but people need, like, well, unfortunately, a dumbed down fucking, like, version of things because nobody knows how to prepare for this stuff because you know why? Society and modern fucking technology and basically government intervention has taken away all our basic fucking survival skills to fit their fucking directive of having this global fucking functioning system. But in order to have that system, things need to be just so, and well, you know what happens whenever systems just don't go just so. Yeah. We all know. I don't even know. You know? It's a big fucking mystery. But what isn't a mystery is China's on lockdown. This is essentially spread to every country on the planet. But don't worry, the risk is low. It's just low numbers right now. There's only about 1,000 outside China now. They were still saying the risk was low when there was about 3 of them outside of China. So, but what would you like them to do? Really? Are they gonna come out and say, hey, you know, so well, we shit the bed. So actually, you know what? Good luck, everyone. It's you know, the world's canceled. Figure it out on your own. No, they're not going to say that. Of course not. They'll keep the market running as they'll drive it into the fucking ground. They will. And that's what it is. It's about keeping things running right now. It's not about health. They're not looking at this. They're like, well, how the hell can we keep the market stable, you know? That's what it is. Seriously. And while they're bickering over numbers and scientists are fucking fighting over figures, this virus is just barreling straight at us. And it knows no fucking borders. And it travels very well in the cold. It travels very well in the heat. As we know, well, it's being passed around in Africa, Iran. You know, it's hot down there. This thing don't mind the heat. And it came out of, you know, even western or northern China. So it's cold and snowy up there. It was transmitting perfect up there. It loves that stuff. Alright, this thing isn't going to slow down. I don't give a fuck. And this information is only for people to say, you know, do what you think you gotta do. And that's all you gotta do. You know, if that's all you can do, that's all you can do. Manage your children's activities during a pandemic. You know, it could all very well be about to change. Actually, it will change. It's not a matter of if anymore. It's just a matter of when. And it only took a month to shut down a country of 1.4 billion people. So if we can take that into any kind of hindsight and learn from it. I've done my preventions, and I've done as best as I could for this moment. For this moment. If I start seeing like things going into like lockdown, I know my next moves. And that's all I do. I got an exit plan. I really do. And as much as I thought I was fucking crazy birds for even thinking of such foolish fucking notions, I literally started to question my own sanity. Like, what the fuck am I doing here with this list? But no, it's real. It's not like the H1N1. It's not like the bird flu. It's not like the swine flu. It's not like a fake news broadcast. This shit's gonna fucking happen real quick. I promise you it will. Regardless of the semantics of the fucking who had and what's or where it fucking came from and any political, it's gonna sweep across real quick. The economy and the virus. And not only that, there's a very high probability this is going to start a war. Somehow, somewhere. Because people are going to get real fucking antsy when the supplies start getting really fucking low. And we got countries that, that might not be infected fully with people and still have capabilities of firing their fucking weapons. Right? So it could get real fucking ugly. And you know what? He didn't say that exactly. But Dr. Tedros from World Health Organization's broadcast on the 21st Friday there stated this situation could get really ugly. That's what he said. This guy's been saying it, and he is a very scientific based person, and he's been saying that right from the start. As much as people they want to call them jackasses, all they are is a committee on basically how to act. They only provide plans. They can't make anything happen. They're just an advisory committee. That's it. It's like no different than the fucking condo committee or the fucking neighborhood fucking watch committee. They can't really do anything. They can suggest things. That's it. Yes, they are very smart people and they're the best at what they kind of do for that, what they do. But they're factual driven, scientific based protocols right now. And we just don't have the science. We don't have the science. I'll guarantee goddamn to you. The numbers of infected. Oh. I would say approaching millions in China. Dead? It's unknown, but I would say the infected is probably up around millions. That's not, I don't think that's far stretched. I really don't. With that being said, my friends, brothers and sisters from all the mothers and misters, I wish you all the best. And, conspiracy theories are always conspiracy theories until they're no longer conspiracy theories. I will keep you updated. And I am very tired. I had so many issues with my stream tonight. Nothing went right. And vital information that I wanted to pass and keep a storyline to didn't really happen. But I find when I plan, it just never works anyway. So fuck it. I'm not going to even bother bringing a pen and a paper next time. We'll just fucking roll as it goes. And that's how initially it worked. But as soon as I tried to plan, it was like everything just fell to shit. So, yeah, we'll get back. Appreciate you guys. Share, and I don't even care if you like it. Just share it. Just share it. Get the word out. Anybody who wants to listen, whatever, some kind of fucking crazy guy on the internet fucking rambling about shit he doesn't know about. Take care. Love you all. Peace.